Home of black soldiers is stolen by squatters. A few days later, bikers showed there and commit the unimaginable. For the previous 2 years, John Daniels, a distinguished veteran, had been stationed in Germany. He was eager to see his family again in Cedar Ridge, Texas, his birthplace, and was proud of his time spent serving. However, a sudden revelation that put his fortitude and trust in justice to the test ruined his return home. To ease the transition between them, John's wife, Lisa, had been residing with their relatives in a different state while he was serving overseas. A few weeks before the John's discharge, she intended to return to Cedar Ridge and get their house ready for their arrival. However, Lisa was met with an unbelievable scene upon her arrival. Strangers were living in their home, a place they had devoted so much time and energy to maintain. Lisa contacted Joan in a panic, sobbing and shaking as she explained the scenario. They had two strangers live into their house and they wouldn't leave. John had a wave of powerlessness and rage. How is this possible to occur? Squatters were invading his house, which was meant to be his haven. When Lisa revealed that Tony Ramirez and Carla Mendes, the squatters, claimed that they had permission to remain there rent-free in exchange for sprucing up the property, the situation grew even more enraged. It was an obvious falsehood. John called the local police department right away in the hopes that they could assist, but he didn't get a very encouraging response. The squatters had secured the residency, thus the Cedar Ridge police clarified that the situation was now civil rather than criminal. A formal eviction procedure would have to be followed by John and Lisa, which would make several weeks or even months. John could not believe it. How could these robbers own his house to a greater extent than he and his spouse did? He was fighting to recover his own property while serving his nation. Considering that he was still hundreds of kilometers away in Germany, the frustration was unbearable. The tale was taken up by local media as word of the situation spread. It was so upsetting to see Tony and Carla proudly supporting that untrue assertion in front of the camera. The house was abandoned. There were buckets strewn over the yard to catch rainwater, and they had no utilities. For John, watching his weeping wife in his house on TV was nearly too much. Luckily, several unexpected allies were also reached by the press coverage. After reading the article, a group of nearby bikers who had been in the military were inspired to take action. The Patriot Riders were a motorcycle club that had a reputation for standing up to veteran justice. They made the decision to speak up for John and Lisa. There was nothing like Patriot Riders. Many of them had experienced battle and were skilled at handling situations like this. They were committed to assisting John in regaining his house because they recognized the value of veteran unity. The strategy worked despite being basic. John would get a visit from Patriot Riders who would announce their arrival. Their intention was to create enough discomfort for the squatters to decide to leave. There would be no violence, no threats, just a community that demanded respect and existed in silence. News of the motorcyclists' plan immediately spread as they were ready to ride a Cedar Ridge. Tony and Carla were soon informed of the upcoming visit. Even with their bluster in front of the cameras, the squatters were aware of their inferiority. They were forced to reconsider their stance at the mere prospect of dealing with a determined bunch of veterans. Tony and Carla gathered their things and left in the middle of the night. The home was unoccupied when the Patriot Riders arrived. There had been no conflicts as a result of the technique. Thank you to the veteran community for your support and solidarity in reclaiming John's and Lisa's house. John was really appreciative of the assistance he'd gotten. Not only that the Patriot Riders assisted him in getting his house back, but they had also given him newfound hope for the strength of friendship and community. But the fight was far from lost. The squatters had left the house in deplorable condition with extensive damage. Although Lisa had made every effort to tidy up before John came back, there was still a lot of dirt. To return their house to its previous state would need a significant amount of work. John realized it would require finances and effort, but he was still determined to work hard. The Daniels family received support from the Cedar Ridge neighborhood, along with the labor and materials supplied by nearby companies. Neighbors also gave their help. Many people were moved by the tale of the Patriot Riders, and the squatters, of course, and many were willing to lend a hand to a needy veteran. John and Lisa were blown away by the amount of support they received as they toiled up non-stop to fix their house. Every day, Volunteers arrived to help, and the house gradually started to resemble a home once again. John was filled with a fresh appreciation for the community that had welcomed them. The experience had demonstrated the resiliency and tenacity of the human spirit while serving as a sobering reminder of the difficulties veterans continue to confront even after leaving the service. There was a wider community that appreciated and cared for John and Lisa so they weren't alone. Eventually, the house was fixed up and John and Lisa could resume their lives back again. To show their gratitude to everyone who had supported them, they invited their neighbors and the Patriot Riders to a cookout. It was a happy occasion of tales, laughing, and a strong sense of community. John was overcome with thankfulness when he saw the faces of others who had stepped in to help them. The event served as a tribute to the strength of a community and the value of sticking together in the face of difficulty. Others found inspiration in John and Lisa's narrative, which served as a reminder that hope persists even in the most hopeless of circumstances. Although their road had been challenging, it had also taught them the true value of support and friendship. So John and Lisa Daniels knew they were home when the sun sank on Cedar Ridge, surrounded by a community that genuinely cared for them. They had overcome a formidable struggle and emerged stronger. John was filled with a fresh appreciation for the community that had welcomed them. The occasion was a celebration of the power of community and the importance of staying together when things go tough. The story of John and Lisa inspired others and reminded them that hope endures in the face of overwhelming adversity. Their tale served as a monument to the strength of cooperation and the unbreakable link that unites those who serve with those they defend. We learn so much from the tale of John and Lisa Daniels about the importance of solidarity, community, and standing up for what it is right. It demonstrates how a community solidarity and support can have a significant impact even in the face of misfortune. A gang of motorcyclists with a military experience called the Patriot Riders proved the value of friendship and self-defense, proving that no obstacle is unsurmountable when people work together for a shared goal. The narrative also highlights the difficulties that veterans continue to confront even their duty is over. It acts as a reminder of the efforts they put in and the encouragement they should get from society. It also highlights the necessity of having a legal system that sufficiently defends homeowners against wrongdoings, like squatting, and guarantees the preservation of their rights. In the end, this story encourages us to take compassionate action and help people in our community who are in need. It challenges us to think about the ways in which we might improve the lives of others, especially those who have served our nation. How can we support and defend those who have given so much to us, both as a community and as an individuals? What steps can we take in our local communities to guarantee that everyone, especially our veterans who have sacrificed so much for our nation, feel safe and supported? And most importantly, how might we improve the lives of people who are less fortunate by lending a helping hand? Please drop a comment and tell us what you think of this story.